Mr. Vavi, it would seem the noose is tightening. The COSATU President Stu Dlamini says these are no more allegations. These are actually findings.
That statement is baffling, shocking to come from somebody who claimed to be a trade unionist, whose main responsibility in life is to defend the rights of workers and the rights of members of the society in general. How could you say there are now findings, no more allegation, when the persons adversely implicated, mentioned negatively in your report, has not seen the report, have not been given a chance to respond to whatever allegations or findings that the forensic auditors are presenting to the Central Executive Committee. In South Africa, unlike perhaps in other countries, such as in when there's no democracy, such as in Swaziland, there is law here, there is precedence in law that say forensic auditors have no right to take findings without first offering people adversely affected by those findings, giving them an opportunity to respond so that their final report contains the responses of everybody affected and before they are presented. These guys, Zwelinzina and Gobodo, simply did not contact me, my wife, or anybody else that is mentioned there. They ran to a hurriedly convened meeting of the Central Executive Committee and present findings.
Now, obviously, you've had the sort of benefit. I mean, with all the time in the world that you now probably have, you've been able to sort of take a few steps back, reflect on what actually happened, and with that benefit, are you able to say or state quite categorically that there may not have been oversight on your part? In other words, with the benefit of hindsight, maybe you should have looked more closely at what your wife was doing, at what your daughter was doing, and perhaps you wouldn't be where you are today.
No. I have no slightest inclination of any feelings of guilt on this matter.
Even something that could be interpreted.
No. Let's come back. Let's come back to the issue. When the issue of COSATU building is raised in the public, people are told by sources from within the Central Executive Committee that Zwelinzina Vavi have taken millions for himself and his family in the sale and the purchasing of COSATU building. How could that be so? Because every step of the way in terms of the sale and purchasing of the COSATU, there was no Zwelinzina Vavi acting alone as this big elephant in the room they were referring to. He is part of a collective that includes the very same president now who turns around and say there are findings. He would have not been unaware of every of those steps. He chairs the meetings of the initial office bearers. He chairs the meetings of the Central Executive Committee. He chairs the Congress. There are reports and decisions taken by each of those structures for a period of 2 to 3 years. If there was an oversight in the prosecution and in following the procedures, it can never be that one person out of that collective is guilty and the rest of everybody else is not guilty, including the Central Executive Committee that he now says have accepted the findings. What about their own fiducial duties that they have in relation to all the reports that were received and processed by them? So I have no issue about feeling guilty. My wife have no business dealings as far as I know. He is not a director of the VMS, which is one of the service directors or the service providers that provide certain services in COSATU. Somebody must bring to me and to her to say, this is what we find. What is your response? Let me tell you this story about my daughter is employed. I get to know this from a journalist sometime in October last year. Your daughter is employed. Which daughter? Your daughter, meaning my biological daughter. No, my daughter is in the Eastern Cape. No, it is your stepdaughter. I don't know where the stepdaughter stays, and I find out that she resides in the house of the Nihau General Secretary, and I established thereafter that she has been employed by this VMS company for a week or two before they calling me.
COSATU General